Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bullhucker podcast. I'm Louis Lundstrom.
I'm Jenni Grubbs.
And we are on location again, Jenni Grubbs.
At Country Vines and Wines.
Country Road Vines and Wines.
Country Road Vines and Wines.
Here on Road 21. We're actually our second run back at this place. And this is one of my more favorite places to come because it's such a unique thing for Fort Morgan, Colorado.
It's so cool. This is my first time here, and I really wasn't even aware of it. And it was beautiful to see all those people outside enjoying the great afternoon.
Because it's such a cool thing. It's out in the country. It's it's just so unique. But before we get into that, we have a guest.
We do have a guest.
We have the Jenni Grubbs with us. What's up, Jenni? Thanks for coming on.
You are most welcome. I've been looking forward to this.
We've been looking forward to having you, a newspaper reporter, so this ought to be good.
Yeah, and you've been the newspaper reporter for tell me how many years.
Well, I've been with the Fort Morgan Times for 11 and a half years now.
That's amazing.
And technically I'm not a reporter anymore, but I'm the assistant editor now. And so you don't see me out in the community as much as I used to be, but that's because I'm in the background and putting all the stories together and making sure that everything's going into the paper how it's supposed to and that it's all out there and the community's finding things out.
She's got the intel insider scoop.
I think one of the first times I met Jenni Grubbs and why I love you so much, we started Two for the Road Entertainment. Kind of a bummer in 2020 would have been our 10th year. We had made it a solid decade of being the longest running independent comedy show in Colorado, right? And by the way, comedy is coming back in October. So, we're excited. So it's going to be in Brush at the golf course. And in the next couple of podcasts, I'll have more information on that. But I digress. Jenni Grubbs actually came and did an article on the comedy show. You were one of the first ones to come out, and you came out early.
Yes. Well, because I heard about it, and, I was a relatively new reporter in Morgan County in Fort Morgan, and I heard this, and I was like, how cool is this? So I went to the Clarion and saw the show, and I remember that was just such a cool night to do that, and it was crowded. It was a sold out capacity room, and you guys had I think it was only the second or third that you had done.
Yeah, you were early.
And it was so much fun, and I laughed and laughed and laughed, and I kept thinking, I'm going to tell this joke. Oh no, I can't tell that joke in the paper. It was so much fun though.
It was, do you remember the headliner? Was it Bob Meadows by chance?
No, that was a couple after that.
Okay.
I just ran across a photograph of in my Facebook feed, of me standing on the stage at the Clarion doing one of your shows. Yeah.
When was your first time at the Clarion to do that?
It was also early. It's been quite a while. It was probably one of your earlier.
Right.
Between your third and fifth show, maybe.
That's how you and I met, was through comedy, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
I think through the Greeley connections, correct?
Through Dave and
Dave. What's up, Dave Aloise? You puke.
I don't know if he was the headliner or the second, but Alex Ash was.
Oh no, he'd have been one of the openers.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
I connected with him that night, and I'm still connected with him to this day. So that's kind of cool. But
Alex Ash is a decent human being. He really is. He's a good dude. He's very. Do you know Alex?
No.
He used to.
Oh, what a great description. He's a decent human being.
You know what? Welcome to 2022, where that's a very good thing. That's
not a super common thing.
Put you way up here.
Yeah. Thank you. But he's a good dude. He used to pal around with like Rick Bryan, and Rick Bryan. What's up, Rick? And all those guys. So I do. I break the fourth wall all the time. So, Rick. But anyway, before we get any further into this conversation, we are drinking wine by tonight. And we are picking one that Jenni Grubbs picked out.
Yes.
Which one? What's it called here, Jen?
It was Sundowner. This is one Sharon Kaufman gave me a chance to sample a few different wines before we did this.
Nice.
And this is the one that I particularly liked out of the selection she offered me. It's a sweet red that has little notes of raspberry in it. And it's one that I just found quite appealing.
Well, cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Reach.
All right. And it is they said it's red without being red.
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, and it's wine without being wine. It tastes like Kool-Aid.
It kind of does.
Yes.
It's this place. I'm not a big wine guy, but I've not had one here that I haven't liked yet.
That's super.
Last time was the pineapple pear one we had, and God, I can't remember what Jerry picked. He picked a different one.
Yum. You picked a super one.
Thank you.
You did a good job. So, and if you ever come out here, Sharon and Dan are the nicest people alive.
They are.
And I can't tell you how cool it is to have this in Morgan County because it's so unique. You don't have this just anywhere, you know. A lot of places of the microbrews that are popping up, which are cool too. You know, they got their own, you know, special flavor, I guess. But this you don't see hardly anywhere, especially in a town this size.
Right.
So kudos to you guys for bringing it here. Thank you, Dan and Sharon. Okay, love you guys. Love
yes,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
But before we get going, after I said that, welcome to the Bullhucker podcast. Now, if you're new to the podcast, what we do is we bring on a guest. They're going to tell 3 stories about their life. The only kicker is 2 of these stories are true. One is either made up, half made up, or borrowed. Now, Jenni Grubbs, without going into great detail, which one is it? Is it
which of the types?
Is it partially made up, all the way made up, or is it
partially made up?
Yeah, so it's part true, part. That's the most popular one I think to do. With anybody. It makes it tough because it has a truth base to it, right?
Well, yes, and you have to be a certain somebody to just pull one out of your butt. Like, oh, I'm going to come up with this crazy, and it's going to work. It's going to work. That's hard.
We've had a few people that have done the whole from beginning to this BS one the whole way through, man. And that's okay. Props.
Yeah.
Well, and I do a bit of fiction writing too, so I probably could do that.
Oh.
But I figured what would be fun for me tonight would be to essentially go off of some of my headlines from the past.
Okay.
So these are all things that have been headlines.
Okay.
It's just that one of the stories is going to have some elements that are not quite
interesting.
True.
Okay, and I have to ask, what kind of fiction writing do you do? This is fascinating.
Well, I have a novel in progress that I'm hoping to, once I finish it and sell it, I'm hoping to turn into a series. And it's about, I'll give you the really, really brief version. When the Rocky Mountain News closed, a whole lot of investigative reporters suddenly didn't have a job anymore, and they got together and formed a private detective agency.
Oh, wow.
So then it's the stories of the things that they solve.
Nice.
I
would totally read your series.
Yeah.
I remember when the Rocky Mountain News closed. It was a big deal.
Yeah. It was.
Do you have a name for it?
Well, I call it like the overall, the first story will be different kind of deadline.
Okay.
But the overall, like the agency is Confidential Sources Incorporated.
How long does it take to do something like this?
Well, I've been working full time this whole time, but I first started it in 2009. So.
Oh, wow.
But I have, about half of, right. I have it all plotted out.
That takes,
amazing.
Kudos to write a book like that or even a series. That's got to be.
It has to be. I would love to be able to. I don't have the dedication to myself or my time to sit and do it. So I think that's amazing.
And my grammar's horrible. Someone would have a seizure by chapter 2.
That part I can handle.
Okay.
That's why they have editors.
My editor, I'd find him dead on the floor.
That's a plot line right there.
Yeah. How are you still alive for being so stupid, Lundstrom? But anyway, welcome to the Bullhucker podcast. So,
thank you.
If you'd like to subscribe to the podcast, on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see a little red dot. That's our subscribe button. Hit that, follow the podcast. It's a little click for you, but a big click for us. And that's usually what she would say, but I didn't prep her. I didn't.
A little click for you, a big
but it's a huge click for us,
That's right.
And we've been getting a lot more subscribers, so it's picking up, and it's
wonderful.
It's exciting. It's been a good time. So,
well, and you're hitting quite a few number of shows. You'll be at 100 here before too long.
Yep. This I can't. I've lost track. I think this is 77. I think
amazing.
77.
Congratulations.
The old Mecklenburg numbers. So yeah, it's funny. The Strohs all fought over who's going to be 69.
Of course they did. Who won it?
Right, it was Ryan Stroh.
You should have handed it off to Christine and win tiebreaker.
Because Rick went first. He took the.
Is that the? Sorry, is that the fan? No.
So Rick went first. He. Yeah, awkward silence.
Awkward.
Rick went first, and then it was Ryan and Christine, because she was almost guaranteed that they're going to screw me, make me go first, and then had you went first, well, you wouldn't have been 69. But so Ryan Stroh was lucky number 69.
Lucky number.
You pervs.
I bet he loved that.
He did. He was big time into it. So okay, well, we have 3 stories. You ready to tell some stories, Jen?
I guess so.
And I didn't say this up front. You're Jenni, by the way, and you're generous. Okay.
Generous. That's right.
I want to get her a shirt made that says generous.
My new dub. There you go. My new dub name, generous.
Why do I call you generous?
Because I'm a very generous person.
That's
and
why.
I'm OG. Oh, generous.
Oh, I think it's be OJ.
OJ.
From Jen Russ. See?
Oh, that's right. OJ.
Come on.
We discussed this last time, and I've completely forgot because I'm also old. Just plain old.
Old, dirty, generous.
Yeah, old, dirty, generous. That sounds even better.
If anybody steals that, we'll sue you. Just so
That's
you know,
right.
we will sue you.
That's a trademark, man.
Being generous will live fat. All right, you want to name off the stories?
You betcha. I can't wait to hear them. Okay, we've got crappy offer with a question mark. Crappy offer, crazy caper, and fisticuffs.
Well, Jen, it's been a while since I've got to see you, so why don't you go ahead and pick one out?
Okay, I'm going to go, because it's a newspaper, I want to know about the crazy caper.
The crazy caper. Okay. So this was one that just, you start your day as a reporter not knowing where your day is going to go. It could be that you're off to interview somebody about something awesome and special that happened. You could be headed to the scene of a fire where someone's house just burned down.
Wow.
You could be stuck in the office typing things. But chances are, when you're a reporter and you're in a newsroom, usually there's a police scanner going in the background. And you're listening to it and thinking, well, this is bugging me, this is annoying, there's nothing happening, this is boring. But then suddenly something happens that makes you go, oh my God, this is news, who do I need to call, where do I need to go, do I have my camera, is my memory card in my camera, where am I headed? So I'm sitting in the newsroom here listening to the scanner, nothing's happening, and then all of a sudden you hear the big ding, 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 something's happening. And so I hear that there's a high-speed chase in progress. And then I hear, they crashed, there was a crash, it was a head-on crash, and they bailed, and go get them. And then you hear, suspect in pursuit, foot pursuit, and then you're having all of the routing information of the dispatch sending people to go chase them and follow them.
Is this in Fort Morgan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Well, Morgan County.
Morgan County. Okay.
It started on Highway 144 around Log Lane. Okay. And it was Marshal Darren Sagal. He was the Log Lane Marshal at the time. And he was in a high-speed chase, 70 miles an hour.
Out on those curves.
Yep, on 144.
Wow.
Yeah. And then it wound up in a big old head-on crash, like right at where 144 comes onto 50, not 52. 52. Yeah, 52. Yeah, right, yeah. And so big old head-on crash, and then guy apparently ran out and just took off, and his accomplice, a woman, they headed to the Hampton Inn. It was really close to that, and in the Hampton Inn, there was a car parked with the guy like inside registering for the hotel or what have you, and this couple carjacked the car. One got in the car, the woman got on the other side. The woman was in the passenger. She got pushed out of the car, and the suspects took off in the car.
Oh wow!
And they're going. Police suddenly are in pursuit of them there, and they keep going, and now they're out. I want to say they kept going like out where now there's the Fort Morgan Middle School, so they're going out 52 all the way south of town. Okay. And then they turn onto Q, and then on Q, the police, sheriff and police combo, closed in on them, and they round up down in the ditch.
Oh wow!
And so the suspects got out. They weren't caught yet, and they took off running and ran to a nearby farmhouse, and were trying to get another vehicle. They got into a vehicle there, but they weren't able to get it started, and that's when police caught up with them and finally put them under arrest. And so for me, I'm hearing all of this in the scanner, and it's all going down, and I'm typing it up as fast as I can, trying to get something on the web, trying to keep track of what's happening, trying to figure if it's worth it to me to go try to chase and get my camera to take pictures. And it's like, no, this is happening so fast. I just have to be here and, try to keep track of what's happening. And it's just one of those times as a reporter that you're like, how did this happen? And I think in my story that I wrote that it was like something like you'd see out of a movie or a TV show, like an action type of scene where, high-speed chase, crash, and boom, and there they go, and the pursuit is on. And
right.
Now the crash, I have a question. The crash was not with Officer Sagal. It was with an innocent driver, passerby out there. Okay, so he was able to keep in pursuit with them after they stole another car.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, and talking with Darren afterwards, he was just having a hard time even remembering how it all played out. And then I read his report after the fact, and it was like, wow, you actually recorded that pretty decently. And so then I'm getting after the fact, I'm also getting press releases from the sheriff's office, from the city, from Log Lane Marshal. And so then I have to compile all of those into what my notes and everything that I did for my, not on the scene, but over the scanner reporting as well. And,
okay.
I mean, just the word that kept coming to my head through all of this was, it was a caper.
It was a caper.
I mean, when you think about it, it really was, because these people, and when they were arrested, methamphetamine was found on their person.
I'm shocked.
So I know, right?
What?
Big surprise there.
In Morgan County, this is clearly the lie.
Who'd have hung?
It turned out that they were from Greeley.
Okay, well, then I believe it.
Even worse. Who'd have hung?
That's because Greeley's the one we look down on. There, that's this side of the state's Pueblo. That's what that is. Okay,
we're surrounded by them.
Yeah.
Greenies.
Oh my god,
that is too funny.
I'm always amazed how cops can do that. I mean, that's got to be white knuckling it.
Well, are you a flight or fight person?
Probably a flight.
I am a giant flight person. I'm running. I hope you don't get hurt.
Yeah.
Do you remember my story about my own kid? I ditched him in the ocean.
Ooh.
She did. when the riptide came, Jen's like, I love you, but
save yourself.
Only so much.
Yeah. So, and are you a flight? You must be, being a reporter, you've got to be a fight person. You got to want to get in there, head on. If some chick's giving birth to a baby, you want to be there, head on.
Exactly.
That's a fight person.
Well, there's a fire. I'm headed there, and I got my camera, and darn it, you're going to let me in and let me get the pictures and get the story.
She's like, not only am I showing up, I'm getting in.
And I'm getting the pictures.
Nice.
That's awesome.
What do you think about that story, Jen?
I think that's a great story. And I'm trying to recall my own, because I've grew up here my whole life, if this is a story that I've heard. So when you said it was going to be all headlines, I'm like, yes. But then I forget I was gone for 20 years.
Yeah, so there is that.
And I have very little community ties still today.
And this wasn't that long ago. This was 2016.
Oh, so. And I was not here during that time. Okay, I think that's a great story. And I agree indeed. It's like a caper. I was thinking of what was that bad Madonna movie? Dick Tracy. I was thinking of Dick Tracy at the moment, like just sitting there trying to get those notes taken.
I was thinking like a Benny Hill music as they're trying to break into other cars. You know, she's waving her hands, he's smacking the car. You know,
but with all of my stories, how often do you get to use the word caper in a headline and have it be true and real?
Right. That's crazy. I liked it, but I always have to hear two. I always have to.
That's right. That was a great one, though.
Okay.
I liked it, though. That was crazy caper. So what I do, Jenny, is I always take the one I want to hear the most, and I always save it for last. So
gotcha. Let's
hear crappy offer.
Okay. So I don't remember for certain what year it was. I think this was 2011. But Sterling got flooded. The town of city of Sterling got flooded. The river overran, and they were under a boil order for water. 2012. Okay. See, you can fact check me there. Mm-hmm. And then, so the city of Sterling had to bring in a lot of porta potties because people couldn't flush their toilets because their whole sewer system and everything was overflowed. They couldn't do anything there. So Sterling had this huge problem with crap, literally.
Right.
And I was covering City of Fort Morgan, City Council, and the city leaders were trying to figure out if they could assist Sterling in some way. And so they had this whole plan of how they could take on the City of Fort Morgan's wastewater treatment plant, could take on all of Sterling's excess waste. And it was this whole big thing and this whole big plan. But then the city of Sterling decided, no, we can't do that because we contracted with all these porta potty companies.
Right.
But in the meantime, the city council from Fort Morgan passed a resolution and everything to take on Sterling's effluent.
Fort Morgan agreed to take Sterling's shit.
Crap is what the headline I was allowed to use. But I was literally allowed to print as a headline, Fort Morgan offers to take Sterling's crap.
Crap.
Take shit off Sterling.
Now, how do they do this? Is it got to be like a new pipeline got to be done?
No, it would have been essentially a whole bunch of trucks that would haul. Like pump out the excess waste from all these porta potties and then haul it here. The same way like you would do from a feedlot or what have you if you had an excess type of thing.
Fascinating.
Okay.
But just the fact that I got to use that headline and that my editors approved it Fort Morgan offers to take Sterling's crap.
I love it. Was this during, you said 2012, so this would have been time during reviews. Did you get great reviews on that, or did you get a lot of what?
You know, some older folks did not like the headline. A lot of people laughed and thought it was really clever and gave kudos to my editor for allowing it to run. Some old English teachers were just, how could they possibly do that? That is not allowed. That should not be allowed. That cannot run. And it's like, well, I could have used a different word.
Right. This fly loves me a lot.
Yes.
I remember the flooding. The girl I was dating for a while was showing me pictures of the porta potty she made herself. She made her own two porta potty. Yeah, it was ghetto, but you know what? It's not stupid if it works. Okay.
And it was so necessary at that time too.
It wasn't the same year as the whole state flooded over here?
No.
Fort Morgan, it overtook the bridge here in Fort Morgan.
Because I thought that was 2013.
Yes.
Okay.
That Fort Morgan's flooding
one.
issues were a year or two later. That's why I wasn't sure if it was 2011 or 2012.
Okay.
Maybe I'm thinking of something different then.
You could be. But that was when the river, that wasn't the rain and everything.
Oh, gotcha.
That wasn't all of when everything from up north got so much. That was the South Platte flood.
Okay.
In Sterling.
We had a comedy show that weekend, and I remember it was raining pretty good. And the thing that makes me laugh in Fort Morgan is the bridge gives out all the time, but that Rainbow Bridge stands strong.
Right.
All the time. Yeah. It never takes that Rainbow Bridge out, because it was made back when they made bridges
to last.
Yeah.
I think in 1935 it broke through, didn't it?
Maybe. I mean,
they had one in 35 and then one in 65. We tend to have these weird 30-year floods out here.
Yeah.
And the 65 it stood and 13 it stood, but I want to say the 35 or maybe the one even all the way back before that broke that Rainbow Bridge, and they had to rebuild it.
They had
Thanks
to rebuild.
For sending me the fly.
They had to rebuild at least one of the pylons for it.
Okay.
Not the whole bridge itself.
I was going to say, yeah, well, you would know.
Here's a story that no comedians can relate to about that. We had a comedy show that weekend. We used to do Friday in Fort Morgan, Saturday in Sterling. And it was Ron Ferguson. What's up, Ron? And Mitch Jones, who will be out here in October. And I told him, look, man, it's getting bad. We were in Sterling at the time. And I think it must have been a different flood because it was one where Fort Morgan's bridge just gave out. And I'm like, so you need to get that headline set down to, 40 minutes. And, well, he's a comedian, so screw that. I'm doing my full set. I don't care if this place floods, So he did, and the whole time I was sweating, like, what are you doing?
I'll go down doing what I love. Laugh at my jokes.
Do you want to go home? Because the bridge is going to give out. We got to go, So, and we didn't. We actually got out. So
okay, but that was the overpass type of one, right?
Yeah, the one by Atwood, I think it ran over.
Okay,
that day. But the one in Sterling was we still got over that one. So.
Okay.
But yeah, it was crazy, man. It was nuts. So, yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that story?
I do have some questions about Fort Morgan allowing that word in their paper.
Okay.
But it also would not surprise me, and I think the pun is great. I think it's extremely punny.
Well,
I would have used it.
Me too.
So, yeah.
And you're going to offend people anyway, right?
Right.
One way or another.
People get upset over the dumbest shit. So have a little fun, smile, and enjoy it because it's true,
Yeah.
One of the basis of my comedy is poop jokes, so I'm totally down. Yeah.
She's generous with it. Okay. We got one more story. Fisticuffs.
You got to say it with the exclamation point.
Fisticuffs.
Fisticuffs.
Chingazos, mijo, chingazos.
Well, and as a reporter, you go to so many governmental meetings. And lots of times it's just boring, routine. They're passing. You're on city council now, Larry. You can relate to this. Yeah. So I'm going to all of these little meetings and what have you. So I go to Log Lane Village to cover their Board of Trustees meeting. And on the agenda is what to me feels like a pretty routine item where they're approving the extra pay for the town marshal for his regular duties. Well, what I did not realize was that there were some people who really, really, really did not think that the town marshal should get paid the extra money. And someone else who felt extremely the opposite. And so over the course of this meeting, it got really, really heated over whether or not these trustees should approve this extra pay for the marshal.
Okay.
And some people were just so upset that the marshal was helping out with these undercover investigations and helping do all this mutual aid with the Morgan County Sheriff's Office. And the marshal was not in town writing tickets for people who were not stopping at the stop sign, and you couldn't see him and he was never there, so why should we pay him all this extra money? And then someone else, well, he's our law enforcement official, we have to trust him, we have to pay him. Yeah. And so this is just back and forth, talking back and forth and back and forth all through the meeting. And then finally it's almost to the vote. Somebody puts a motion on the table, and then before I know it, I'm looking up and going, what is happening? And two gentlemen who people in this audience may know or may not know, Cliff Garver and Burt Brown, started hitting each other.
Like duking it out.
Like coming to blows. Like they had been going back and forth and talking. And then Cliff stood up and Burt stood up, and it was like a throw down the gauntlet type of a thing. And next thing I know, boom. And it was crazy. You don't expect this.
Wow.
You don't expect this. This is government. This is not.
That's great for a reporter, though.
I know, right? Yeah. Right. So all I can think in my head is, "Oh my God, how am I going to write this lead? This is cool."
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm trying to take all my notes, and because I always did hand notes as a reporter, and it was just so crazy to watch. And so in the meantime, Morgan County Sheriff Jim Crone was there, and so there was another law enforcement official there. I don't remember who that was. But Jim was like pulling Burt and Cliff away apart from each other. And
right.
Yeah, it was just so wacky and wild, and you don't expect that to happen.
No, never. I mean, I've been to some city council meetings where it does get a little heated.
Right.
People get very passionate about crazy stuff sometimes. Mm-hmm. But it's funny. The ones I've seen haven't been fisticuffs. It's been little snide remarks to each other.
Yeah, right?
It's just,
and that's what you expect. That's,
right.
If you're a reporter, you're taking notes and trying to catch what they said so you can accurately report it. So,
right.
But then when it actually comes to blows.
Well, it's not like these are two young, passionate dudes.
Man.
I mean,
I'm both extremely passionate, granted, but these are both men in they're gray-haired men in their 60s, if not older.
Right. What I mean by passionate is those guys that like do chest bumps still in the bar with each other and wonder why they can't find a date.
Yeah,
with a woman.
Yeah, not each other.
That's a passionate young guy right there.
Yeah, and these are, two upstanding men. I mean, Cliff is well known in the community for his
I'm related
generosity.
to him.
Well, there you go.
Through marriage, but
yeah,
I'm related
Burt,
to him.
Who's like the guy who poured the cement pad for the basketball court in the town's first park. And
wow.
Amazing.
The fact that I'm witnessing this happen.
So
and
who won?
We
got to know. What happened at this UFC fight?
Technically, I don't think either of them really won. Did
they go home? Did anybody get arrested?
They didn't. They both got taken out of the meeting. I don't think anybody actually got arrested for it. But
that's shocking.
They both got pulled out of the meeting separately. Jim took Cliff, and I think whoever the log lane deputy was at that time took Burt and got them out. And
all over the pay.
Yeah,
that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, all over Fred Cook's extra pay,
wow.
And whether or not he was going to get the comp time pay, essentially.
It blows my mind. Nobody likes a cop until you need one.
Right, and somebody was upset about them helping the extra community that we all share together.
Right.
By God, don't help them. Why should we pay them?
Yeah.
That's what they're for, to help work together to keep the whole place a safer
And then the cool thing for me was I got to use the word fisticuffs in a headline.
Nice. Well, and what was your headline?
Log lane meeting comes down to fisticuffs.
Two men beat the crap out of each other. She goes, I could use it once. I used it once. I'm using it twice.
Did you get to use the word town elders? Like, cause that's just so village and M. Night Shyamalan. Two of the town elders brought it down to fisticuffs Friday
night. Cliff wasn't living in Log Lane at the time. He owned property there.
Okay,
so he had an interest in the town, but he wasn't a resident.
Gotcha.
So I couldn't use quite that language.
Okay.
Did the officer get the raise?
What's that?
Did the officer get the raise?
Yeah, Fred. It took 3 more meetings.
Okay.
But Fred ultimately
good for you, Fred.
It's funny in small towns about the fights you have, or the things that become the big obstacles. You know what the big one in Brush was for a while?
No.
Backyard chickens.
Yes. And that's come up like 5 times?
At least
Since I've been with the Fort Morgan Times.
And backyard chickens are totally allowed now because I hear them all over town.
Well,
right?
Fort Morgan. Fort Morgan, it's a normal allowed usage.
Yeah, I hear those cock-a-doodle-doos often when I'm around.
Well, and the cock-a-doodle-doos, the roosters, are not allowed.
Not allowed, yeah.
But if you get even a foot outside of city limits, all bets are off.
Oh, right. So what I'm hearing are illegal cock-a-doodle-doos.
If they have a rooster, they can't have a rooster. It's got to be hens.
Well, and even brush. I mean, look at how many little bits and pieces on brush city limits that, like if you're over where the old middle school used to be, there's property, houses and things along there that are technically outside of city limits.
The Munns Edition.
Oh, sure, the Munns Edition.
Yeah.
I know because I have to walk through there if I go into town from my house. So.
And then same Fort Morgan, if you're driving along Riverview on your way to Walmart, all those houses by the Fairfield, none of that's city limits.
Really?
Yeah. It's an enclave.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh. It's a little enclave that the little stretch of, like, if
you're right. That is right outside of city limits. Yep. That's where I used to go hide and smoke ciggies when I was a teenager.
Really?
Yeah, because I lived in that house right across the street from the bus garage, which is now blue.
Okay.
And white on corner of Nancy and Riverview.
The one that's always lit up like crazy for Christmas?
No, 2 blocks east of that on the other side of the Presbyterian Church. Yeah, so right across the gates from the school bus.
I worked with the lady who owns that house now, or did, Tammy, gosh darn it, what's her name? She was awesome. She worked for DFA. She's also an author. She has a book.
Right, Tammy Sagal.
Yes.
And I read one of her books. I think she's got a couple. I read one, and it was not my genre, but I enjoyed the book very much. It was very kind of science fiction-y, if I remember.
I need to read it. I get it home. She made me laugh when I worked with her. She's the kind of person who just kind of tells you what she's thinking. You never wonder what she's thinking. Yeah. She will tell you exactly, no matter if it hurts your feelings or not. She's that person. But I always dug Tammy. But off subject. So you lived in
Nancy. So on the other side, the east side of the Presbyterian Church.
Okay.
And then right across the street was the water treatment facility. It used to be a little orange and white building. And I go hide down there. Still my mom's Virginia Slim 120s. Go hide down in the ditch right there and smoke ciggies at like 13, 14. Thought it was so cool.
Yeah, now my lungs,
now my lungs are like, you're so not cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait, have you ever been a smoker?
I was for a while, unfortunately.
Oh, really? Yeah, that makes all three of us then. Yeah. How long has it been since you quit?
That would have been April 2003.
Good for you. That's awesome.
So I was really only a smoker for like 4.5, 5 years. So not too bad.
That's still tough. I mean, the habit's still there. The addiction's still there.
Yep.
So
you still get the cravings, unfortunately.
Yeah. You never become. There's nobody that's more addicted than anybody else. It's more of a habit for some people.
Yes.
But you're still the same level of addicted as anybody else. So quitting's a bitch. I quit February 25th of 2001.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So
nice.
And I
so you were a little ahead of me.
I celebrate that every year.
Yeah.
You know, because it's tough.
It is tough. I quit in 06 and then started back again in like 12. Mm-hmm. And then I stopped for good in 2017. I didn't mark the date. I'm just happy. And that's Siggy's only. I'm just going to go ahead and state that very publicly right now. Glisten off my teeth. Ding.
Old Dirty Generous.
Old Dirty Generous. Not that generous at that.
How did you quit, if you don't mind me asking?
Okay, so essentially it started for me that I was a student at Metro State in downtown Denver on Auraria. And
Go Roadrunners.
Yes, exactly. And I was finding that I was walking to the entire opposite end of a building just so I could use the elevator. It was just so hard for me to breathe going up the stairs.
Wow.
And so I decided, okay, I need to be done with this. And so what I started doing is anytime I felt like I was going to I needed to buy a pack of cigarettes, I took the cash and put it in a jar. And at the end of the week, I took all of the money in that jar and I went and bought used VHS tapes from the movie rental store.
Nice.
And so I had this huge
nice VHS collection.
Right? And a huge one at that.
Who knew they were going to suck out at some point?
Right.
There is that. But at the time, that just helped me pass the time, too. And
you bet.
It was just fun. And it was an incentive for me because I was waitressing at a Village Inn. And so I always had cash in my pocket.
Right.
So instead of going to 7-Eleven to buy that pack of Marlboro Menthol Lights, I put the money in a jar and was able to get a nice reward out of it.
That's amazing you quit like that.
I did.
That's crazy.
And cold turkey. no less.
That's tough. That is so hard. You?
I went cold turkey. I decided that I just couldn't afford it anymore. They got so freaking expensive. So I quit cold turkey also, but I used a lot of lemon and cinnamon Jolly Ranchers.
Nice, okay.
It was all about the sucky candy for me.
That's that oral fixation.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
I went to a hypnotist.
Oh, okay.
And it worked.
You know what? Me and my boy Hito. What's up, Hito? Andy Duran. What's up, Andy Duran?
Same guy?
Yeah. We all call each other.
We got you, Hito.
We all call him Hito. He's a good man. We went to the hypnotist together. And here's the thing. If you want to quit smoking or quit anything, you have to want to quit.
Yeah.
Right.
If you enjoy it at all, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You're done, right? So we went to this hypnotist in Pueblo. It was the Goriab Institute. And I quit forever. He quit for about 6-7 months, maybe.
When you say institute, are you talking about like a person who's actually accepted by some sort of medical community as a hypnotist to put you under?
That's the name of the company. I had no idea.
Or is it just a group of hypnotists?
Maybe.
And they got a fancy Carnival Corporation name.
You can call your company whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
True.
I remember they put you under, they hypnotize you once, real lightly, and so when you come through, they're like, that's what it's like. So they want to take all the anxiety out of it. So they bring you back up, and they said, okay, that's all it was. It's super easy, guys. So go outside and have the last cigarette of your life. And everybody does. And I remember I had thrown mine away out, and so did Andy. And there was some chick that got with a pack of someone's fired. There's a job opening. So it's the owner, so I think it's safe. There's a lady had a full pack of cigarettes, and I'm like, hey, can we bum a cigarette? She's like, no. I'm like, bitch, we're all about to quit. Okay, you're gonna throw those away here in a minute.
That is hilarious.
Is she
not even one?
She begrudgingly gave them to us. Like, I'm like, if you don't believe in this, and it was a menthol.
A tear for each one.
God, I hated menthols.
Oh, see, and that was the thing for me.
See, I couldn't do it. I was Marlboro Lights.
I don't like menthols either. I was Marlboro Reds.
Oh yeah, I was for
yes.
Until my chest would burn. I'm like, I gotta get healthier. Time to switch to lights.
Well, and for me, it was the walking to the entire end of a big, huge college building just to take the elevator.
It takes a lot out of you, and I love elevators still to this day. Don't get me wrong, but when you notice yourself having to take one, that's very different than I'm a lazy ass and I'm going to take the elevator because I can.
Well, and it was just a wake up call for me, I guess.
Yeah. Well, see, my wake up call was I think it was anxiety attacks. I started getting wild chest pains at 26, 27 years old.
Yeah.
So I went and saw my doctor, and he checked it out, and he goes, do you know how many guys your age have heart attacks that I've seen? I'm like, how many? He's like, none. He goes, it's probably in your head, but smoking, I mean, this is just a precursor of what's going to happen. It's coming. Sure. It's coming for you, man. And so, because I remember sitting there having a chest pain, laid down on my couch, and thought to myself, I panicked. So what did I do to stop my panic? I lit a cigarette.
Oh, of course.
And I'm sitting there smoking a cigarette thinking, how big an idiot are you?
Well, nicotine.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the whole brain wash of it all.
But
my mom's been having those heart troubles.
Yeah.
And so I was reading a lot about congestive heart failure and stuff. And there's 4 levels, A, B, C, and D. And she's in her stage. But I was reading about stage A. And stage A is exactly what you're saying. Yeah. If you're a smoker, if you're an overeater, if you eat too much salt, you're already in stage A of heart failure.
Right.
So that's a scary way to think about that. They're basically saying it's going to happen if you don't change your ways.
Right.
Well, we got rid of the smoking part of it.
Yay!
Right.
So probably check all the other boxes.
Yeah,
right.
I'm working on that right now. But the reason I brought up the hypnotist thing was they gave me a statistic there. They gave us a statistic. If you quit smoking for 50 years and you have one cigarette in 50 years, you have a 95% chance of going back to the smoker you were.
Yeah.
How scary is that?
Wow.
Nicotine, it sticks with you. And if you give your body more nicotine, it's just going to
it'll snap.
Come back.
It's a super drug. I mean, when you and I'm not trying to promote it in any way, but it's a super drug in the way that it can turn your life around faster than even crack, meth. We just deny it because it's sold legally.
Well, it's semi-socially acceptable. And
right.
when we were heavily smoking, it was absolutely acceptable.
Totally acceptable.
I mean, I was working as a waitress in a restaurant, and if I wanted a break, I'm going to go take a smoke break.
Right.
Okie dokie. I just need to sit down a bit. No, you can keep going.
Right.
So it was that trade-off of...
Well, I remember people smoking in restaurants and on airplanes.
Yep. Well, I don't remember airplanes.
Yeah, I remember all that.
I remember they put it in my head and I got hypnotized. When people smoke around you, it's going to piss you off. Yeah. You're going to want to be away from it. And I worked as a bartender in a nightclub before Colorado cut smoking out of it. So people would come and smoke at the nightclub, and they blow it in my direction. I remember just like the rage, like
getting pissed off. Oh,
you know. But I'm not a rageful person usually. I'm not an angry. I'm the fight or flight. I'm usually the flight. And I remember getting so angry about it. I mean, now I have a friend who went back to smoking and it broke my heart when I started smoking. Right? I was like, what is wrong with you? And she's like, well, chubby. I'm like, okay, you got me there. So, but I'm going to the gym.
Yeah, but.
Yeah. So.
They definitely get oogie
thing?
After you realize what you're not around every day.
What's that?
They definitely get oogie. Like you can smell it worse and the smell is worse. And
you notice it.
Yeah. And it is tough. Like the triggers are the tough ones too.
Right. Yeah.
Like when I get in the car, I'd always light a cigarette. And after I was done eating, those were the two killer times for me.
First thing in the morning. Yeah. After eating was a big one for me.
Oh my God. And then when you quit, did you notice, like you just said, everything in your house smells like it.
Yep.
You can start smelling on your clothes after a while. You know, it's so crazy. So
I've moved around enough that's not a problem.
Okay.
And I started replacing my after eating cigarette with more eating. So
okay.
Yes, I filled that void very easily.
Well, a little fun fact: drink water. It'll reset any kind of. I know.
It does though.
It resets any kind of craving.
I know it does.
Well, and if you have the opportunity, drink water in Fort Morgan. Fort Morgan has some of the best drinking water in the state.
Actually, I think Brush.
Do you agree? I think it tastes like chlorine in Fort Morgan.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Actually, Brush has the aquifer out south of town where it's filtered through all the sand and a layer of clay. So actually, Brush has won quite a few awards for their water.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah. But Morgan's water is better because back in the day.
Well, back in the day, it was absolutely awful.
Oh, the water. It was
as
terrible back in the day. It is better than it used to be. I do remember that.
We would come to Kmart to go shopping with my mom. And I remember if I got thirsty, get some of they had that drinking fountain back by oh my God. I was drinking what is in my mouth right now? Mom, I think the urine is in the actual drinking fountain. It was so bad. So, okay. And welcome to the Bullhucker podcast where we go off in the left field for a solid hour. Staying on
tangents.
Yeah, staying on point is not something that this podcast is well known for. So
I think that's what's fun. You
fun.
never know what's going to happen.
And before we guess, I do want to say one more time, please hit that subscribe button right bottom hand corner of the screen.
I've lost it already.
Oh, you're killing me. Small
click it or ticket.
I hate you. Small click for you, big click for us. So
that's right.
And also, whatever platform you're on, please leave a rating and review. We do appreciate it. It does help the podcast out. And you know what? Jen will high five you in public if you do it. Right? Boom. Yeah, I don't know about making that face when she does it, but the high five is legit. So I'll just say
and hey, while we're plugging things, if you have a chance, check out the Fort Morgan Times on the Brush News Tribune. We're still here. We're still in the community. We're still relevant and doing our best to get you the news.
Shame on me for not bringing that up earlier.
I know, right?
God, I am rude. I'm just. So
we're both terrible pluggers. Just saying.
Obviously, there's physical papers, but online you can read online still or no?
Yes, we do have a paywall for the Fort Morgan Times.
Okay.
So you only get a certain number of articles free before it asks you to pay. But we also have our e-edition, which is essentially like a PDF of the print paper. So if you like reading the stories in that format, that's an easy thing to subscribe to.
Cool.
Nice.
If you like getting the news and finding out what's going on in your local community, unfortunately, community journalism is some of the most expensive journalism there is.
Sure.
And it does cost a pretty penny for us to get you that news. And so we appreciate all the support we can possibly get, whether through subscriptions for digital or print or both. The e-edition subscription, clicks on our website, anything, everything.
Follow them on Facebook too. Yes, you have a Facebook page.
We have Facebook pages for the Fort Morgan Times and the Brush News Tribune both.
Right.
Yeah.
All the community support in the world can never be enough community support for a small. Yes.
For a local paper.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. So yeah, and while you're and if you're on Facebook, liking them, feel free to like the Bullhucker podcast too.
Agreed.
That'd be
right.
all right.
Absolutely.
So,
it's the right thing to do.
It is the right thing to do. And if you
is.
don't, Jen won't high five you. She'll come find you.
Right, and we're so good at plugging. You have to like everything we do. Remember to plug eventually.
And that's the plugging part why I call her Jenna Russ, just so we know.
There we go.
Pun intended.
We do our plug walk.
Okay. Do you have any clue offhand, just off the top of your head, what a subscription costs to the paper?
Off the top of my head, no, I don't.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
news side, not the business side.
Okay. All right. Well, check it out anyway. So that's a good way to get your news, local news. So
Yeah.
For Morgan Times, brushtribune.com.
You know, and I will say, when joining the city council, the coolest thing about the council in my eyes was learning about things that are happening in your community. Mm-hmm. I was clueless to a lot of the things that happened or how things even worked in our community. Yep. So reading the local newspaper, you'll be amazed at the stuff you'll learn, you know, and the stuff that you hear from your friends or you read on Facebook. Although we said just plug it on Facebook. Facebook is horrible for the news. You should never, I don't.
It has its positives, but it also has a downside.
But if you go to the actual paper in your town, you know what I mean? You're at least getting your local news. What's happening next door? That's important, you know, in my
At least
opinion.
there was somebody who fact-checked it and looked into it. And,
Right.
You know, than somebody like me who's behind the scenes reading it and checking the grammar, checking the spelling, reading that, saying, that name doesn't look right.
Right.
So then I go and figure out whether it's spelled right or not.
Okay. Yep. But it's important. So
you bet it
definitely,
is.
A good way to check what's going on next door in your community. So.
And hey, we print everything from honor rolls to birthday announcements to local sports to the city council to these really cool story about something great that happened to someone.
Right.
And how would you know otherwise?
And to your obituary.
There is that.
Sorry, I'm a morbid person.
That's okay.
I will laugh at the paper back when I was a kid. There used to be a section of it from like Hill Rose and Snyder about what the people out there were doing. Like Anna Mae had Mary Jane over and they had turkey dinner.
That is funny.
Yeah.
I remember the crime of the week. Remember crime of the week? I remember a fond time. Fond memories.
I'd always just laugh at it. I'm like, wow, we live in a small town. You know?
Unfortunately, the gals who did those type of things, the Snyder News and Hill Rose News, and how many different ones of those little columns those ladies have died.
I'm sorry, my bad.
So we don't have those anymore.
I won't laugh at it anymore. But I can't go back
to... The Hill
to
Rose Quilting News.
14-year-old Larry's probably still laughing in the past.
Yeah,
so.
You still can, but...
It just used to make me laugh at how small an area you live in because that was news in Snyder, Colorado.
Well, they would talk about their quilting club. Like the quilting club gathered Wednesday and worked on their patchwork squares. And to us, that might not mean much. But to everybody who's in a quilting club around here, that was big time. Good fun.
And we're still going to report the results of the Morgan County Fair, which Kids is Pigs.
Oh, that's going on right now, isn't it?
Yep, that is absolutely going on right now.
Very nice.
Very cool.
Today, I believe, was the sheep show. And tomorrow it'll be the pig show. And then the beef and dairy. And then the junior livestock sale where all the 4-H kids get to try to sell their animals.
I miss the livestock sale so much.
I never was big into that stuff. It was 2 years ago. I got a call from the city council. It was Rick Bain, the mayor at the time. Rick Bain. He goes, Larry, what are you doing tonight? I go, nothing. Why? He goes, well, Dan Scalise would usually do this. Him and Monty, the city manager, go down and buy an animal from one of the kids. Yep. The city brush should always, you know. And he goes, they can't make it, so do you want to go with me to go buy an animal? And I'm like, I don't know the first damn thing about a pig, but we can go try, you know. So what you do, I come to find out, is you find somebody else is going to buy a bigger, and you just go in with them, you know, just give your money, right? So thank you, John Sweeney, by the way, for being that man that held our hand through it. Because I'm like, I don't want to go back and be like the councilman who paid...
who paid $1,400 for this pig? Is that okay?
All time, yeah, because some of the rabbits that came out were going for, and granted, these kids use this stuff for college money, whatever. So it's family members that are just throwing a lot of cash at them for like some of the rabbits and some of the smaller stuff. I get it. They get a lot of money, and God bless them. I think it's great. But when I saw the price of the rabbit, I'm like, how much do you think the pig is? And Rick's like, shit, I don't know.
How much you pay for the pig?
I don't even remember. John Sweeney bought the pig. We just gave him the money.
Probably quite a few hundred.
Yeah, I was going to say $700 is nothing at a farm sale for a 4-H kid.
Yeah, I think it was over $1,000. I think we spent $250. I don't know. I can't remember. It was a pig.
Once you're getting up there,
it was a cow, absolutely.
Once you're getting up there, you're just getting in charity. And you're just helping that person get some more money.
I don't remember. I just remember we had $250, and that
which
was
never hurts
a lot of money.
Small child,
Right?
He needs money for his next animal.
And I've been in the same position where the paper told me to go buy an animal,
Right?
and I'm there. They didn't give me a price how much I could spend.
Oh shit!
But basically, I did the smart thing and found somebody that I could go in with.
Right.
So we comboed the purchase of this sheep.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So the Fort Morgan Times got credit for buying the sheep, but we also were in with, I think it was Caring Ministries or something like that.
I'd be too busy crying. You're like, I know what's going to happen to this pig. But I was always the one out there at the sales kissing my pigs and kissing my cows and bawling and racking up money from the sales guys out in the audience.
Generous. Pretty generous with the pig
She
stand.
learned it early.
Okay. All right. Do you have one in mind, generous?
We've been having so much fun talking, I've forgotten. Okay.
I forgot my stories.
No, I've not forgotten your stories, but I am still going. I'm going to stick with my original hunch.
Okay, don't say it yet.
Oh, all right.
We got to decide who goes first.
I do have a clear, definite answer in my head.
Okay, so Jenni Grubbs.
Yes.
We have to rock, paper, scissors to see which one of us guesses first.
Okay.
How do you rock, paper, scissors?
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
There's a 4-pumper. Ugh. So that means that's what we got a 4-pump now. We're 3-pumpers.
I don't mean to say talk to my hand.
You guys can do what you gotta do. I won't judge.
We'll 3-pump then.
3 fisticuff.
Okay.
Because there's 2 different ways.
There are 2 different ways.
Yeah, there's a 4 throw and a 3 throw.
But that's why you decide before you do it, or
Yeah.
else somebody is wrong.
We're going to go 3?
3.
All right, ready?
Oh!
Okay, well, yeah. I was ready, and then you said, oh.
I
and
went
then
right
waited
into
for you.
it.
Ready?
You knew I was going to do that next. Okay.
Do you want to try again?
No.
Let's do it again. You know what? I'll give you the second shot of this. Ready? Are you okay, well, hold on. Good Lord.
Ready?
Okay, you got me.
And before we start, I will say this wine is kick-ass. You picked very well.
Oh, well, thank you.
You picked super great.
I thought this was fun.
Once again, it is the Sundowner American red wine. No, it's great. It is a little sweet, but I like the sweet wine because I'm that guy. So okay,
You can drink more of it that way.
It's sipping wines.
It is sipping wine. So that's not for me in general.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say it wasn't sipping wine for me tonight.
all right.
Sipping wine? What's that? I don't even own a bottle stopper.
All right, generous. We have 3 stories and you lost. So do you have one in mind?
I do.
Okay, we'll go through them, sister.
We had a crappy offer, crazy caper, and fisticuffs. And I'm still going to stick with my initial, and I've never done this before. I usually jump back and forth, but try something different. I'm going to not flight or fight. I'm going to stick with my initial, well, I'm trying to think of the word.
Hunch?
Where I was cynical about something or questioning something.
Oh, sure.
That is the Fort Morgan Times allowing you to use the word crap in a headline.
Okay.
I'm going with crappy offer.
Okay. I think Crazy Caper is true. I do believe that one is true. A lot of detail in it, and I'm a detail guy. You probably know that if you've watched this podcast. Fisticuffs, God, that one kind of popped out to me a little bit. But ultimately, I have a hard time because that's... What year did you say it was? Around what year?
Which one?
The Fisticuffs.
Fisticuffs?
Ballpark.
2015-ish.
Okay, all right. So I probably wouldn't have heard about that because that would have been way before I gave a shit about any
And
of
I
that
asked
stuff.
her earlier about the year.
Okay. Was that the year
You
she
don't
gave us?
remember, do you?
No.
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay. You know what? Now I damn near want to pick it because I think you found something or made sure.
But I didn't pick that one.
I
So
know. It sticks out. The reason I was going to pick Crappy Offer as well is because I don't remember. I remember, like I said, Patty was telling me about how she had to make a makeshift toilet. I wish I had a picture of it. It was, you know what? She's a resourceful woman, that one. What's up, Patricia? And she was showing me her little shower curtain out. It was in the driveway, man.
I love it.
Yeah,
Nice.
because she wasn't going to allow that monstrosity in her house, you know. So it's crazy. If you're gonna shit in a 5-gallon bucket, it's got to be outside.
And it's got to be semi-private.
The feng shui is not right in here. Okay, take the crap bucket out.
There's no room in feng shui for a bucket. Is
Right,
that what you're saying?
So I think fisticuffs at a a meeting would be. I'd have heard about that. I'm gonna go fisticuffs. I'm gonna try fisticuffs. You're gonna go crappy offer.
Yep. All right.
All right, Jen.
The UFC Battle Royale is on.
Whip that over. Let's see what you got, Jen.
Dun, 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 dun.
Is that upside down?
Fisticuffs.
Oh, you got it. Very nice.
What wasn't true about that?
That they actually hit each other.
Oh, okay.
They both were up with arms ready to go, and Darren and Jim pulled them apart.
Okay.
So they were ready.
They were ready to hit each
throw
other.
blows.
They were ready. They were. I mean, Cliff his face was so red, and Bert was sweating the way he does when he gets all puffed up and whoa. And I mean,
and they were still removed from the meeting, and it was over between the two.
Yep.
Nice.
Very cool. Okay, crappy offers, true story then.
It is.
I like the excitement of a fight breaking
Morgan
out.
agrees to take
Sterling's crap. God, I would have loved to have seen that.
It's true. It is that headline. That headline ran.
I love it.
And I got to use all three of those words and headlines. I got to use crap, I got to use caper, and I got to use fisticuffs.
And fisticuffs. How fun for you.
And crazy caper is true.
Yes. Completely.
The only thing that would have made Crazy Caper cool is if Caper would have been involved.
John Caper?
John Caper. And you could have made it Crazy K-A-P.
With a K.
Right? I was thinking that the whole time. I'm like, oh, she's going to talk about Caper.
What's up, Caper, you crazy man?
Caper.
And all three of these stories can be found by searching Fort Morgan Times. Well, I mean, Google, really.
In the archives.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, because I looked all of these up before. Because, I mean, I got the invite from Larry Moose to do this, and I was like, okay, what are some of my best hits from what are my fantastical things from my past reporting? And
I love that you came in with stuff we all should technically know if we'd read the newspaper at Fort Morgan Times, BrushTribune.com. Everybody,
we're gonna get out of here in a minute, but I have one question to ask you, kind of maybe personal. Did you ever have one story that kind of broke you? That when you it tore you up, man.
Story that tore me up.
Like when you had to report it, it kind of hurt your soul.
It was one that hit home.
The murder of Destiny McMinn.
Oh,
because I knew her.
Right.
I knew her. I knew her whole family. I knew.
R.I.P. Destiny. That was a tragic loss.
That was so sad to see because I had watched Destiny grow up at the Morgan County Fair, covering all of the fair stuff and things like that. And then she came to be an adult and went off on her own and got kind of lost into drugs and different things. Right. And then suddenly there's a search for her. There's a body recovered.
Oh, goodness. And
then it wound up being so crazy and just awful. And my heart just went out to Sherry and that whole family's so big.
And was there ever justice? I guess I never did hear. Justice was never served on that.
2 people went to jail or prison, but not for nearly as long as maybe they should have.
Gotcha.
Was it the boyfriend?
No, it was a whole, I mean, this is like gang and drugs.
Yeah, it was a much older, very strange. And my family did Bible study with the McMinns. They were very, very religious and very strong in their convictions. So Destiny's death was very shocking to me. And yes, she was mixed up. She was a little girl caught up in stuff she shouldn't have been caught up in.
So if there's a story that truly hurt my heart, we'll say, that was it.
That is tough.
Our hearts go out to Destiny's family as well.
And the tough part is that could happen to anybody.
Yeah.
Going down that dark path, people judge all the time. You know what? Everybody in this world is like 1 to 2 bad decisions away from being homeless.
Yes.
Yep.
You know, you really are. So thank God for everything you have.
That's right.
Yeah. And that he got you this far.
Yep.
Because Lord knows I've tempted it. You know?
Right.
We've all pushed it.
Yeah.
Anyone who's lived a good life has.
Yeah.
What a great quote to end on. Anybody who has lived a great life has pushed it to some sort of limit and made it through it.
Well, Jenni Grubbs, thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely. This has been fun.
And it was good to see you.
Yes.
Like I said, we became friends when she showed up and did the article on the comedy show for early on, and it was cool. It was front page.
Yes.
It was a big deal for Adam and I. It was
well, and I think it's quite an honor to have somebody who has such an extensive knowledge of our history here and our community here, and I think that's wonderful.
That is wonderful.
Thank you both.
You'd be someone that'd be good for like a historian like speeches for schools, and you know what I mean. I'm serious.
I've done some of that.
Yeah.
I helped the community history writers put together their Portraits of the Past book that's available through the museum.
Nice.
Very
cool.
nice.
I was the one who edited everything from the community history writers, all the history stories that they did for a number of years.
Wonderful.
Well, before we go, please make sure you also support the Country Road Vines and Wines. Yes. These people are so... It's how you're on Country Road 21. If you're on 34 coming from Brush, if you hit John Deere, you went too far. If you're coming from Fort Morgan, if you hit John Deere, take your first right down Road 21. That's the best way. And it's on the corner. It's a one block in,
southwest
one road
corner of the intersection.
Right.
21 and R.
And you know what? You can look up. We'll have all their links to their stuff below. You can check out all that good stuff. We'll have a link to the Brush News Tribune. What website would you like them to go to? Facebook, or is there the website?
BrushNewsTribune.com.
We will put that
all one
down.
word.
Okay.
FortMorganTimes.com.
Okay, we'll have both those in the descriptions below. So if you want to check out all that stuff and subscribe, please click on the links. It'll take you right to their page, as well as the Bullhucker page. Go ahead, feel free to subscribe and check out the page. Why not? While you're there. So
we have a lot of fun here.
Right, and this is all about supporting local stuff. So please make sure you do that, and or else. Show them the fist, Jen.
That's right, fisticuffs.
I'm Moose Lundstrom.
I'm Jenny Nebb. Generous.
Generous. Oh, dirty generous.
Oh, dirty generous.
The name grows every podcast.
It will.
Thank you, Jenni Grubbs.
Thank you very much.
Bye.